protests, political dissent, coups d'état. These are typically the harbingers of chaos, the ominous overtures to a period of profound instability for any nation unfortunate enough to experience them. From the sprawling continents of Asia to the historical heartlands of Europe, such occurrences are far from rare, often marking definitive downturns in a country's fortunes. Yet, nestled within Southeast Asia, one nation seems to defy this well-trodden path of political turmoil, leading to decline: Thailand. Despite a modern history punctuated by military coups and recurring political crises, events that have become almost ingrained in its national narrative, Thailand continues not only to develop but also to flourish as a leading regional hub for tourism and economic activity. How has Thailand managed to cultivate this apparent paradox, navigating perpetual political headwinds while maintaining forward momentum? The story begins in 1932, when the centuries-old absolute monarchy was overthrown, ushering in an era of constitutional monarchy and multi-party politics. Thailand embarked on the ambitious journey of building a government elected by its people, mirroring democratic models emerging elsewhere. However, this path proved to be anything but smooth. Between 1932 and 2014, the nation witnessed a staggering 19 coups or attempted coups. This averages out to a change in government, often forceful, roughly every 5.5 years, a revolving door of power that speaks volumes about the underlying fragility of its political structures. One of the most emblematic examples was the ousting of Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra on September 19, 2006. This event plunged Thai politics into a protracted cycle of instability, so severe that in the subsequent 5 years alone, the country saw 4 different prime ministers take the helm. The deep roots of this persistent instability lie in the intractable conflict of interests among various powerful forces vying for dominance on the political stage. At its core is a fundamental societal cleavage, the clash between the largely rural, agricultural-dependent population, often encompassing the urban poor, and the entrenched urban middle and upper classes, the beneficiaries of economic development centered primarily in major cities like Bangkok. The former group, concentrated in the countryside and the northern regions, has historically grappled with economic hardship stemming from limited land access and volatile agricultural prices. The latter, the urban elite and burgeoning middle class, has reaped the rewards of Thailand's economic growth and modernization. This socio-economic divide manifests clearly in the political arena, with 2 major parties largely representing these opposing constituencies. The Pheu Thai party and its predecessors traditionally champions the cause of the farmers and the urban poor, often employing populist policies designed to garner their support. Conversely, the Democrat Party typically aligns itself with the interests of the urban middle class, the business community, and the established elite, but the friction doesn't end there. A third critical dimension of conflict exists between the elected political factions and the formidable Thai military. The armed forces, particularly the powerful Royal Thai Army, have repeatedly demonstrated their willingness to intervene directly in politics, staging coups whenever they perceive their institutional interests or their vision for national stability to be under threat. The 2014 military coup, which ousted the government led by Yingluck Shinawatra, Thaksin's sister, stands as the most recent prominent example of this dynamic. Institutionally, Thailand adopted a political model inspired by North American and Western European democracies, featuring multiple parties and theoretical checks and balances. However, this imported framework operates under vastly different local conditions compared to its Western counterparts. Firstly, Thailand's overall economic development, while significant, still lags considerably behind that of established Western nations, creating different societal pressures and priorities. Secondly, unlike many contemporary monarchies, where the sovereign holds a purely symbolic role, the Thai king, particularly the widely revered late King Bhumibol Adulyadej, wielded substantial de facto power and possessed immense influence over the political landscape, acting as a crucial stabilizing force and moral arbiter. Thirdly, the Thai military, especially the army, functions as a power center almost co-equal to the civilian government, deeply involved in national decision-making far beyond its typical defense mandate. With such significant influence emanating from both the palace and the barracks, Thailand has struggled to establish a true separation of powers in the conventional sense. What exists is arguably a hybrid system, A democracy in training wheels, one that bears the ceremonial weight of monarchy, while simultaneously attempting to practice democratic governance in such an environment, where legal frameworks are still evolving and a widespread, deeply ingrained respect for the rule of law among all actors has yet to fully mature. Political and social confrontations become almost unavoidable, recurring features of the national landscape. It might seem counterintuitive, almost unbelievable, but despite this backdrop of chronic political instability, Thailand's economy has shown remarkable resilience. In 2023, it was ranked among the world's top economies, around 26th by some measures, a testament to its ability to weather internal storms. So, what is the secret to this surprising buoyancy? A crucial factor appears to be a shared understanding among Thailand's leaders, regardless of their factional allegiance, that maintaining national stability ultimately hinges on implementing substantive policies that address the basic needs and economic well-being of the populace. A World Bank report highlighted Thailand as having one of the highest levels of income inequality globally, with the wealthiest 10% of the population controlling over half the nation's assets. In many countries, such stark disparities, combined with poverty, create fertile ground for social unrest and political upheaval, easily exploited by factions seeking to mobilize the disaffected. Yet, Thailand has largely managed to avoid this downward spiral. The reason lies in the government's adept use of targeted measures to alleviate economic pressures and soothe social tensions. For instance, the controversial but politically significant rice pledging scheme, initiated around 2011, involved the government purchasing rice from farmers at prices significantly above market rates. While economically debatable, this policy provided a crucial income safety net for millions in the agricultural sector. Specific figures illustrate the scale. The government committed to buying paddy rice at 15,000 baht per ton when market prices hovered around 8,000 to 9,000 baht. Alongside this, Thailand implemented direct support mechanisms like agricultural insurance programs, where the government subsidized up to 80% of the premium costs, helping farmers mitigate risks from natural disasters and market fluctuations. Even when faced with complex challenges like ethno-religious tensions, particularly in the southern provinces, Thai authorities have often opted for proactive engagement and de-escalation strategies. This includes initiating peace talks with Muslim separatist groups and pursuing more sustainable, long-term solutions through integration policies that respect the cultural identities of non-Thai ethnic groups. Research from institutions like Chiang Mai University has noted how Thailand allows various ethnic minorities to showcase their unique cultures during national festivals. This not only fosters a sense of national unity and belonging, but also cleverly serves to enrich the country's tourism offerings, turning potential points of friction into assets. Perhaps just as important is the adaptation of the Thai populace itself. Over decades, Thai citizens seem to have developed a certain level of acclimatization to political upheavals like military coups. There's a prevalent sentiment, particularly outside the politically hyper-aware circles in Bangkok, that these power struggles are primarily affairs conducted among the elite politicians, generals, influential families, and have limited direct impact on the day-to-day lives of ordinary people. Consequently, the day after a coup, life in bustling cities like Bangkok often returns to a semblance of normalcy with surprising speed. Once curfews are lifted, traffic flows again, shops reopen, and people focus on their livelihoods. These dramatic political events are no longer automatically perceived as existential crises portending national collapse or economic ruin. Instead, they are often viewed, perhaps with a degree of resignation, as business as usual within the Thai political context. People continue their work, run their businesses, and welcome tourists, ensuring that the vital currents of the economy are not completely halted. A coup, therefore, doesn't necessarily equate to a prolonged economic downturn or severe disruption. This societal resilience, this ability to compartmentalize political drama from economic life, provides a crucial buffer. This stability, albeit punctuated by political spasms, rests on solid economic foundations built upon key strategic advantages. Thailand boasts not only stunning beaches and rich cultural heritage, but also a highly advantageous geographic location in the heart of Southeast Asia. It serves as a natural crossroads, connecting mainland and maritime Southeast Asian nations. Furthermore, its proximity to the Strait of Malacca, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, Confer significant logistical benefits. Extensive coastlines dotted with major deep-sea ports like Lam Chabang and Map Tofit provide the infrastructure backbone for thriving export-import activities and coastal tourism, two pillars of the Thai economy. Nature has also endowed Thailand with a tropical monsoon climate, ideal for both agriculture and year-round tourism. Fertile plains, especially the vast Chao Phraya River basin, have made Thailand one of the world's leading exporters of rice. Beyond rice, other agricultural products like natural rubber, tropical fruits, and frozen seafood are major export earners, further reinforcing the export-driven aspect of its economy. A 2023 World Bank report on Thailand's economy specifically emphasized that even amidst periods of political uncertainty, the country's exports, particularly in agriculture and manufacturing, demonstrated remarkable stability. This resilience was attributed to successful market diversification strategies and sustained competitiveness in key sectors. The tourism sector, arguably Thailand's most globally recognized economic engine, tells a similar story of extraordinary resilience. For nearly a decade leading up to the pandemic, despite global economic headwinds and domestic political turbulence, Thailand's tourism industry consistently registered annual growth rates, often reaching 30 to 40%, firmly placing it among the world's top 10 fastest-growing tourism destinations. Particularly telling was the period between 2014 and 2016, despite experiencing a coup and terrorist attacks. Tourist arrivals not only recovered rapidly, but went on to set new records in subsequent years. One key factor identified by the Tourism Authority of Thailand (TAT) is a persistent and aggressive international public relations and media strategy following any major incident. Be it political unrest or a natural disaster, TAT invests heavily in inviting international journalists to the country to showcase its safety, attractions, and new tourism products, effectively countering negative perceptions. A prime example occurred after the devastating floods of 2011, which lasted 4 months. Almost immediately after the waters receded, TAT organized large-scale press trips to promote revitalized tour packages. This proactive communication is coupled with continuous innovation in tourism offerings, diversifying attractions to suit regional strengths and appeal to a wider range of travelers. Another striking example of prioritizing tourism occurred just days after the 2014 coup. The military junta moved quickly to shorten or completely lift curfew hours in key tourist zones like Bangkok, Pattaya, and Phuket, explicitly aiming to minimize negative economic impacts and signal a return to normalcy for the vital tourism sector. This clearly indicates that regardless of who holds the reins of power, tourism is consistently treated as a top national priority requiring swift restoration and protection. Beyond government policies and inherent economic strengths, the specific nature of Thailand's political instability itself contributes to its contained impact. While protests can be intense, sometimes erupting into violence like the political clashes and arson in 2009, they have generally not led to the formation of large-scale, organized armed opposition groups capable of posing a sustained military challenge to the state. This prevents escalations into full-blown civil conflict. Furthermore, while disruptive, Thai coups often involve relatively peaceful transfers of power among established elite factions, rather than widespread societal warfare. This characteristic helps limit the immediate, catastrophic damage to infrastructure and economic activity, allowing sectors like tourism and exports, the crucial economic lifelines, to rebound more quickly. Consequently, while short-term economic jitters like dips in foreign investment or currency depreciation are common following political events, the underlying economic machinery tends to regain equilibrium relatively soon. This unique combination of factors has allowed Thailand to maintain an impressive economic growth trajectory over the long term, despite the political rollercoaster. For many years, GDP growth rates fluctuated between 5% and 10%, with significant downturns primarily linked to major regional or global financial crises, not just domestic politics. Even with frequent changes in government, the Thai economy has consistently demonstrated an ability to recover and sustain growth. Underpinning much of this complex dynamic is another element, deeply intertwined with Thai identity and stability: the monarchy. Although the absolute monarchy ended in 1932, the role of the king in Thailand's political system remains exceptionally significant. Theoretically, the monarch's powers are largely symbolic under the constitution. In practice, however, the King of Thailand holds immense moral authority and exerts considerable real-world influence, particularly during times of crisis. In a nation characterized by deep political divisions, the monarch has historically served as a powerful symbol of national unity and continuity. The king, especially the revered King Bhumibol Adulyadej, during his 70-year reign, often acted as a crucial mediator, capable of calming tensions between rival factions and guiding the country through periods of intense turmoil. During the most critical moments, the Thai public, as well as political and military leaders, looked to the palace for guidance and reassurance. His interventions, though often subtle, were pivotal in resolving several major political crises. Even military leaders, planning coups, or opposition figures contemplating major political moves have often sought, or at least carefully considered, the king's implicit or explicit stance legally. While the king does not legislate, no act passed by the National Assembly becomes law without royal assent. This procedural requirement underscores that the monarch's role transcends mere symbolism, embedding the institution within the very mechanics of state power. As previously outlined, the three main power centers in Thailand are the elected government, the military, and the monarchy. While conflicts frequently erupt between political parties, or between parties and the military, the monarchy has traditionally maintained a position above the fray, preserving its neutrality and prestige, allowing it to act as an arbiter when necessary. Assisting the monarch is the Privy Council, a body of appointed advisors, typically comprising elder statesmen, retired generals, and respected figures, some with past affiliations to different political camps, but all fundamentally loyal to the crown. This council operates discreetly, offering counsel on critical state matters and acting as another conduit for monarchical influence. Because of this enduring power structure, any government or military faction that assumes control in Thailand must navigate carefully, ensuring its policies do not alienate the palace, both to maintain legitimacy and to preserve overall social and economic stability. However, despite the stabilizing influence of the monarchy and the inherent resilience of the economy and society, the persistent political instability undoubtedly comes at a cost. The recurring crises, while perhaps managed better than elsewhere, inevitably leave scars and impede long-term progress. While Thailand continues to develop, a comparison with some of its Southeast Asian neighbors reveals a potential story of unrealized potential, a sense of losing steam. Consider the comparison with Vietnam. Emerging from devastating wars that extended through much of the 20th century, Vietnam started from a significantly lower economic base than Thailand. As recently as 1990, Vietnam's GDP was merely a tenth of Thailand's. Yet, by 2023, Vietnam's GDP reached approximately $433 billion, rapidly closing the gap with Thailand's $514 billion. Many economic analysts predict that Vietnam is on track to surpass Thailand in total GDP in the near future. A critical factor fueling Vietnam's remarkable ascent is its consistent political stability. While facing its own challenges, Vietnam has largely maintained a stable political environment, which has proven highly attractive to foreign investors. Consequently, foreign direct investment (FDI) has poured into Vietnam year after year, transforming it into a manufacturing powerhouse and a strong contender for the title of the region's next economic tiger. This sustained stability is something Thailand, despite its strengths, has struggled to achieve consistently. Looking back, Thailand itself was once hailed as a development model for Asia, decades ago, as China was just beginning its economic reforms. Thailand was making impressive strides. Global automakers flocked to invest, turning Thailand into the Detroit of Asia, the region's largest automotive production hub. During its peak growth years in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Bangkok was a beacon of dynamism, benefiting from relative political calm, stable exchange rates, and attractive investment policies. The country achieved double-digit economic growth rates, becoming a source of pride for Southeast Asia, but those heady days seem like a distant memory. Over 30 years and several coups later, Thailand finds itself grappling with the challenges of the middle-income trap, struggling to make the leap to high-income status. Having once surpassed China in terms of GDP per capita, Thailand now lags significantly behind. According to World Bank data for 2022, China's GDP per capita reached $12,720, nearly double Thailand's $6,909. Thailand is undeniably still moving forward. Its economy functions, tourism thrives, and its people demonstrate remarkable adaptability. Yet, the persistent undercurrent of political instability acts like invisible chains, constantly restraining the nation's potential. It creates uncertainty, periodically disrupts progress, and arguably prevents the country from achieving the sustained, high-level growth needed to break fully into the ranks of developed economies. Until Thailand can find a lasting resolution to the internal political complexities and institutional friction that fuel this cycle of instability, it risks remaining, as some observers have characterized it, a powerful but ultimately constrained force, a tiger that doesn't roar to its full potential in the dynamic landscape of Southeast Asia.